Good evening and welcome to the Comic News Network, where facts and fantasy collide. And tonight's top story could only be described as rainbow real estate gone wrong. Archaeologists in Ireland have made a startling discovery, one that has financial advisors, theologians, and of course, leprechauns everywhere scrambling. Yes, folks, they've unearthed the tomb of one Brian Connors. Now, you may not have heard of him, but according to legend, Connors was not just any leprechaun. He was the wealthiest leprechaun of all time. Think of him as the Warren Buffett of folklore. But instead of investing in blue chips, he was stacking pots of gold at the end of rainbows. What's even more shocking, buried with him was his secret diary, and spoiler alert, it wasn't just about hoarding gold. It was the exact blueprint for what we now know as the prosperity gospel. That's right. Brian Connors, it seems, perfected the fine art of convincing others to give up their hard-earned coins, not for the glory of any deity, but for the glorification of his own tiny green-clad self. Connors' diary details how he talked his fellow leprechauns into a pyramid scheme so legendary, it makes Enron look like a lemonade stand. The prosperity gospel, which he invented centuries ago, laid out a simple plan: promise more rainbows, more riches, and eternal happiness. And collect the gold, but don't deliver on the rainbows. Genius, right? The discovery has left the theological community in an uproar. One well-known prosperity gospel preacher, who we won't name, was contacted for comment. His response? A suspiciously evasive no comment. Those sources say his office has started using leprechaun-themed stationery. Makes you wonder just how long he's known about Connors' diary, doesn't it? But wait, it gets better. In our attempts to uncover the full story, we reached out to prosperity gospel megastar Joel Osteen for his thoughts. We thought he'd be as excited as we were about this historical find. Well, turns out Osteen's reaction was less inspired sermon and more Indiana Jones. According to witnesses, as soon as he heard the phrase pots of gold at the end of rainbows, he was out the door faster than you can say Lucky Charms. Sources close to him report that he's currently chasing rainbows across several undisclosed locations. And folks, if you happen to spot him in your neighborhood, don't be surprised if he's carrying a shovel and a GPS. Because apparently, while faith might move mountains, a promise of literal gold, that'll move Joel. Meanwhile, scholars are still trying to piece together the rest of Connors' writings, but preliminary findings suggest he also had some fairly forward-thinking investment strategies. For instance, one excerpt reads, "If you just tell them there's more gold, if they believe harder, they'll never stop giving." It's clear that Connors was a visionary, both in manipulating the masses and in hiding his fortune where no one would think to look. At the end of rainbows, naturally. Makes you wonder what kind of tax breaks you get for storing your wealth in the weather. As the world grapples with the implications of this discovery, religious leaders are in a theological tailspin. Leprechauns are considering unionizing, and rainbow chasing just might replace cryptocurrency as the hottest way to get rich quick. It's safe to say that Brian Connors has once again managed to con us all, even from beyond the grave. This has been Comic News Network, where the pot of gold is always at the end of our punchlines. Good night.